Welcome back. This is the second hour of tonight's Truth Jihad Radio. I'm Kevin Barrett, going where the mainstream will never go, talking truth about regime change operations, U.S.-supported ones, to be specific, because most of them, unfortunately, are. We talked about Ukraine in the first hour with Igor Lopatonok, and now we're going over to Pakistan to talk about the ongoing regime change attempt there. Imran Khan, one of the world's few honest politicians, presided over economic success in Pakistan, had the support of the great majority of people, and was overthrown in a disguised coup d'etat orchestrated by who else? Our U.S. government. Your taxes at work, folks. And now he is apparently in a compound kind of protected by crowds of people, and the corrupt authorities, are trying to break through to serve an arrest warrant on trumped-up charges. This is, of course, after the assassination attempt that Imran Khan miraculously escaped several months ago. So it's a really interesting situation there, a kind of very compelling situation with a good man and a decent leader, that rare item in a tough situation, but supported by the majority of his people against the corrupt leaders of that country who were in bed with who else? The usual Zionist American empire. Wow. Well, let's go to Pakistan to talk about it with Syeda Qudsiya Mashhadi. She's the editor of Voice of East, which is a very good publication with points of view roughly congruent with the sorts of things we hear on this show. So, hey, welcome, Syeda Qudsiya Mashhadi. How are you?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, you're coming through perfectly. Good to hear you. So I guess we could start out, by talking about the background of this situation in Pakistan right now, where there's there's been a standoff between Imran Khan and his supporters, which would seem to be the majority of the population, against those who are opposed to him. And so maybe you could kind of walk us back to how this situation developed.
Okay, let me give you a brief background of the situation, what happened. It all started almost a year ago in the March of 2022. Prime Minister Imran Khan was removed from office through what we in Pakistan call a regime change operation. And the opposition parties here, they used loopholes in our political system to oust him from power. And the members of parliament were literally bought like sheep and cattle. Unfortunately, they sold their souls for money and switched sides. And Imran Khan had become aware of the opposition's plot against him last summer. And you may remember his famous response of absolutely not to the question of hosting U.S. bases in Pakistan after America's withdrawal from Afghanistan. So there was a no confidence motion that was, brought in our parliament, and unfortunately, that no confidence motion couldn't have succeeded without the Pakistani establishment. So, and it's an open secret in Pakistan that the military establishment is very close to the USA. So there is a great possibility that the establishment first received approval from America for this regime change operation. And it was clear from day one that the US didn't like Imran Khan's independent foreign policy. And if you remember, on top of that, he was visiting Moscow exactly at the time when Russia's special military operation against Ukraine was starting. Now, Imran Khan had no idea that they were going to launch the operation that day. But it seems, it was the last straw for the US. And,
yes, they're used to controlling the government or having a lot of influence over the government in Pakistan. And
yes,
when they don't, they resort to dirty tricks. I think there have been some assassinations among other regime changes.
Yes, exactly. If you read about the history of Pakistan, this is what they did with Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. And Benazir Bhutto was also assassinated. And this is what has been happening. When a leader becomes too popular among the general public, is either removed or is killed. And I don't know, maybe the Biden administration felt that Imran Khan was trying to humiliate him by, visiting Russia. And maybe he just perceived that Imran Khan was very close to the former US President Donald Trump. At the time of Trump, relationship between Pakistan and the US was better than we had with the Biden administration. And at the moment, they have made trumped up, charges against him in the court. And what happened on the 14th of March, I think the whole of the world was watching what happened at his residence. It was like a whole military operation going on against the most popular leader of the country. And at the moment, majority of the Pakistani people, patriotic people, they support Imran Khan and they want him back in power. And there's no doubt that Imran Khan is going through tough time at the moment, and it is probably one of the most difficult times of his life. But the good news is that Imran Khan is a born fighter, and he will fight back, inshallah, and bounce back more powerful than before. Coming to the current cases against him in the court, what happened was a known bailable warrant of arrest was issued against him. And it is only issued, and if you know about Pakistani law, it is only issued to ensure the attendance of an accused. So once that person makes a statement and enters the court, the warrant becomes irrelevant. But here, the entire state machinery, along with the police force of 2 provinces, trying their level best, that he's arrested and then produced in the court. Had it been for an offense, the arrest would have been justified. But here, the warrant is only for presenting him in the court. So the operation against him is ridiculous, and he has clearly said it again and again that of course he's going to the court on 18th, which is today, starting here in Pakistan, March 18th. The authorities knew it, but unfortunately they made his house into a battle zone. It has never happened in Pakistan before. No political leader has suffered such an attack. And the amount of cases against him is ridiculous. He has 86 cases against him at the moment. And I would say that 99.9% of them are due to political victimization against him. And Imran Khan has been regularly appearing in courts since these politically motivated cases were filed against him, one after the other. And in this particular court in Islamabad, which is, he has to come today, he's traveling from Lahore and he will come to Islamabad today. He has very strong reasons to believe that his life is under threat. And his fears are not unfounded. We all know what happened on the 3rd November 2022. There was an assassination attempt against him, which fortunately for Pakistan failed because it would have been disastrous for the security and peace of Pakistan.
It was kind of miraculous that it failed, wasn't it? There was a young man who grabbed one of the shooters' guns. There were apparently 2 shooters, and What's happened with that? Has there been any progress towards solving that?
You will be shocked to know that in Pakistan we have an FIR, first information report, which you file in the police whenever there is a crime committed. Up till now, it happened on 3rd November. Now it's March 2023, and still the leader of the most popular party in Pakistan, he hasn't been able to file an FIR in the police because the persons that Imran Khan is naming in this assassination attempt, they belong to the military, and the police and the law enforcement agencies, they are not ready to file that report. And the strange things are happening. The person who attacked him, there were 3 attackers. One of them was caught. And he was given the facility. He did not have to come to the court physically. He was given the opportunity of giving his statement via video call. But Imran Khan is not being given that facility. He cannot give a statement via video call. Even his injury, he's not fully recovered. His leg still hurts. He got 3 bullet wounds in his leg. All of this, it makes no sense. They are double laws. They are, for different people, there are different laws. The criminal who was caught, the man who tried to kill him, he has, more facilities than Imran Khan. So.
Yeah, that is completely strange, but it kind of fits the pattern of these inside job assassinations and assassination attempts in which the perpetrators have some form of impunity. And that happens so often here in the United States with the assassinations of the Kennedy brothers and others, including Paul Wellstone, Martin Luther King. And it's interesting also how this seems to happen regularly with unusually good leaders, that is, leaders who are principled and who refuse to go along with corruption and evil. Then the corrupt, evil oligarchs need to remove them. And we see this with the best leadership here in the United States, the Kennedy brothers and Martin Luther King, and then after 9/11, Senator Paul Wellstone, who was not going along with the 9/11 coup d'etat or the plans to invade Iraq. And so his plane was taken down along with his wife, his daughter, and his campaign staff. And these kinds of assassinations are routinely covered up. And so there's a pattern here. This is how things seem to work in the U.S. empire. And Pakistan, unfortunately, has been an appendage of the U.S. empire to a great extent and seems to be suffering from some of its corrupt methods.
Exactly. If you remember how it all started, it was Imran Khan talked about a cipher, a letter that the Pakistani ambassador to the United States, Asad Majid, and he shared a cipher, a letter that he had received from the Secretary of State, Donald Lu, in the U.S., and he sent it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Pakistan. And somehow, there are people of establishment and the intelligence community inside the ministry, and they hid that cipher from Imran Khan. And in it was said that everything will be forgiven to Pakistan if Imran Khan is removed from power. Now, there was one patriotic guy in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he shared that cipher with he was Prime Minister at that time, with Imran Khan. And Imran Khan talked about it to the army chief of the country. And at that time, it was, I think it was March 2022, and there was a very important OIC summit taking place in Islamabad. So the chief said to Imran Khan that this is a very critical time. Let's not talk about this cipher publicly, and we will discuss it later. So it was for 1 month. He suppressed it because the military leadership did not want it to publicly be disclosed. That was the main clue. Imran Khan had some idea since, the October and November of 2021, people had started talking in the mainstream media. Mainstream media is controlled, is very much controlled in Pakistan. You never get true news. You never get facts on the mainstream media. And there was, this talks going on. Imran Khan is not capable of handling the economy of the country. He's inexperienced. He's this, he's that. If you remember, the people who had been in power before him, the Pakistan People's Party of Benazir Bhutto and Pakistan Muslim League, which was headed by Nawaz Sharif, and now his brother Shehbaz Sharif is the Prime Minister of the country at the moment. These two parties had been ruling Pakistan for over 30 years combined. One party goes, other comes. The first one, they were taking turns in looting and plundering Pakistan. They are the most corrupt parties here. So when there were, whisperings of that government of Imran Khan was going, or the military will support the other parties. And Imran Khan thought, now he says in his interviews, he said, I thought, why would the military establishment support such corrupt parties? So he was in denial. He couldn't believe it, that they would support such people against me. And, I'm working sincerely for the country. So he was getting some hints, but he refused to believe it because, he's such a good person. He couldn't believe that anyone would support such evil people. And finally, this cipher thing happened. At the same time, they tabled a no confidence motion against him. And, Imran Khan had majority in the parliament, but they bought his members of parliament from PTI, his party, and they offered them a lot of money. And, unfortunately, they defected. And rest is history. And on the night of 10th April 2022, when he was ousted from the office, there were unprecedented scenes in Pakistan. In every major city, people were out on the streets protesting. And that was the first big shocker that our establishment got, because whenever the military has taken control of the power in Pakistan, people have celebrated because the political leadership has been very corrupt. So the establishment was expecting that this time around as well, people will come out and celebrate. Instead, people came out and protested because they knew that they had an honest leader had come after a long time, and the economy was bad everywhere in the world. It was not just in Pakistan, many countries are facing economic difficulties. So since that day, since that night in April the 10th, night of April the 10th, there have been numerous protests and rallies all over the major cities, the villages, every place, you name it. If you search, you will find video clips. It's all on the social media. And now the scenes, you must have seen how the followers are protecting him, literally protecting him at his residence in Zaman Park in Lahore. And for 2 days, 2 nights, it was a use of brute force against its own citizens. They were treated like terrorists. Expired tear gas shells, water cannons with chemicals mixed in them, and excessive police force and thousands and paramilitary troops using armored vehicles. They were unleashed on peaceful protesters who were unarmed civilians. They included women, children, and the elderly, and all this just to arrest Imran Khan, who had already said that he will appear in the court on the 18th. Moreover, there is a draconian clampdown on media channels who don't toe the current regime's line, and I think only 1 and 2 channels are left who are giving true reports. And one motive for this vicious operation was to find a reason to delay elections, despite a recent Supreme Court order telling that this current government should give a date for the general elections. And many leaders, from the ruling coalition have publicly admitted that they are not ready for elections, and it's very clear why, because they see Imran Khan winning with a clear majority. So, what I just want to say is that the United Nations and Western democracies who call themselves the champions of human rights, they are just silent in the face of these atrocities, and the international media needs to raise its voice against these brutalities. They killed a peaceful protester. Actually, they tortured him. There were 26 places on his, injuries on his body where they tortured him. And they beat him so badly that there was internal bleeding in his brain. There was internal bleeding in his organs, various organs. And Zille Shah, also known as Ali Bilal, he was brutally tortured and killed. And on 14th of March, many protesters were beaten brutally. So you must have seen footage on the social media.
Yes, yeah. Social media is full of the footage, and is the mainstream media in Pakistan covering it at all? Or are they giving distorted coverage, or are they actually trying to get away with not even covering it?
Majority of the channels are not covering it. Only 2 channels were covering it. And even they face suspension again and again. One is ARY Digital, and the other one is Bol News, BOL, Bol News. And there is a PEMRA, this media regulatory authority in Pakistan. And PEMRA, it keeps on suspending their licenses and then telling cable operators to, not to play these 2 channels because they are reporting on what is happening. The rest of the media, the 90% of media is not reporting it because they are in, government's pockets. And this government, it's the most corrupt, the most cruel government that we, the people of Pakistani people, have seen. And the biggest shocker for all of us is that our military establishment is supporting them, is fully supporting. And I think the main reason is why they wanted Imran Khan, out of the picture was that the establishment felt that he was too much independent, and they felt uncomfortable that they couldn't control him, especially his independent foreign policy and his, multipolar rhetoric, because the establishment worried that they would offend the United States. As you know, our military is dependent on the US for the upgrading of the military equipment, and from day one we have been taking weapons from the US. So they do not want to offend the United States, just like India is dependent on Russia for their military hardware. So Pakistan is somehow or the other, since the beginning of the creation of Pakistan, we have been tied to the US. And another reason is, for ousting Imran Khan and installing this, we call the government of Shehbaz Sharif, we call it the imported government, because obviously it was installed by a regime change operation initiated by the US. So this imported government, as they are corrupt, the establishment feels that they can easily control them. And the famous Cablegate, the cipher that I was talking about, it confirmed that the US signaled to the Pakistani establishment that all would be forgiven in relations with Pakistan if the no confidence motion against Imran Khan succeeded. So, and all would be forgiven. I mean, people in Pakistan started asking after that cipher was made public, what is there to be forgiven? What have we, the people of Pakistan, done that the US is saying that all will be forgiven? Maybe they just want to punish Pakistan for their failure in Afghanistan, and they blame Pakistan for that. And because this regime change operation happened after US, failure in Afghanistan. And Pakistani establishment didn't expect Donald Lu's cable to become public. And that is why they pushed a false narrative that those politicians who participated in this plot, this no confidence motion against, bringing no confidence motion against Imran Khan, they did so purely to save the economy and to change his foreign policy. And this claim is obviously now we have seen that it has been discredited, because we see that our economy at the moment, it has collapsed. The inflation is over the top. The poor are unable to feed themselves. It's a wreck at the moment. The economy is a wreck. And
it occurs to me, Syeda Qudsiya, that the Cablegate issue, in which it was revealed that the U.S. was putting pressure to get a regime change in Pakistan, is parallel to the release of those tapes of Victoria Nuland and the U.S. ambassador in Ukraine talking about overthrowing the government of Ukraine and who they were going to install. They were going to install Yats, and who they were going to surround him with, and that they spent $5 billion to do it, and so on. And so that was revealed, and yet, for some reason, the Ukrainian people didn't rise up against the folks who were essentially taking over their country on behalf of the Americans. And in Pakistan, it does seem that it's transpired differently, and that the majority of the Pakistani people are very much on the side of Imran Khan. They don't want their country to be ruled by the Americans and the oligarchs and these main two corrupt factions and families. And so that actually speaks well to the political awareness of the Pakistani people. I was trained in Arabic, and my main focus is North Africa and especially Morocco. And there's, of course, a long tradition of the American experts talking about the Arab street. That is, the ordinary people of the Arab world used to be very well informed about what was really going on, not only in their part of the world, but even in the larger world as well. Maybe these days they're getting a little bit less well informed, unfortunately, due to propaganda. But it seems that the Pakistani street is quite well informed and understands that Imran Khan is a rare, honest leader and objects to his being overthrown by these corrupt oligarchs and their American backers. So again, I'm actually kind of impressed with the overall awareness of Pakistanis. I remember seeing a poll, this was taken by, I think, World Public Opinion maybe 12 or 14 years ago, that showed that I think it was only 3% of Pakistanis said that Al-Qaeda was responsible for 9/11. And the other 97% didn't. That is, Pakistanis are fully aware that the official narrative of 9/11 is false. And likewise, they're standing up for Imran Khan now. It actually speaks very well to the awareness and maturity of the people of Pakistan, a very poor country without first-rate education for all its people, and yet a lot of people seem to have a basic, accurate idea of what's going on, despite the lies in their media. So I wonder why that is. Why are Pakistanis, despite their poverty, more aware of the reality of power in their country and the world than, say, Americans, who are basking in luxury by comparison, have a very highly functioning educational system, especially in the higher levels, the graduate schools. How come the Pakistanis are smart enough to understand basic reality and Americans aren't?
Okay, you were talking about the awareness of the people, and many people in Pakistan, and I'm one of them, they get the credit of this awareness and the political awareness, the awareness of international affairs and the awareness of everything that's happening. We give credit to Imran Khan for that. And if you have come to Pakistan even, 1 year ago, I'm not saying that it changed overnight. Obviously, the country, people think that Pakistanis are backward. It's not like that. Many people who are even poor, they have very good awareness of the world around. Their general knowledge will be much better than the average American person. But this awareness, this consciousness about your rights, about your country, that was given through Imran Khan's speeches after this regime change operation happened. He has attended so many rallies, so many great events where the sincerity in his words, what he said, people watching in their homes, people sitting in front of him, women, children, elderly, there were tears in their eyes when he is talking. He's like, why crawl like insects on earth when God has given you wings to fly? The type of the things that he says. And why be a slave when God made you free? He is such a strong spiritual person. Even on 14th of March, 3-4 days ago, we were his followers. They were sitting in the television was not showing anything. So we were sitting on our social media. We were watching footage on Twitter. People are crying in their homes. Women are crying, "Oh God, please save Imran Khan. Please help him." But when we see him in such conditions, there was not an iota of fear on his face. He was calm, he was cool, he was collected. And his calmness, it is the guiding force of the whole country. And people, they get strength from him, from his words, from his body language, the way he talks, the things that he says. It's inspirational, the founder of Pakistan, Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah, people here love him. And I think after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Qaeda is one of the most revered and the most beloved person in Pakistan. So after Jinnah, people said, we never had a great leader after Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah. There was no one was good enough. No one, came near. But now, after this thing happened, and people lost him through the regime change operation, and they suddenly realized, oh my God, this was the one great leader after Jinnah, and we lost him. And we lost him through a conspiracy against our country. So People are now comparing him with Muhammad Ali Jinnah in Pakistan, and everything is inspirational. And a man with a strong faith can only, be so calm in the face of certain death. And this was not just about getting him arrested, He is a man who plays by the rule book. And there came a time on the night of 14th March when he decided, okay, I will hand myself over to this Islamabad police, because there was Punjab police, there was Islamabad police who had traveled all the way from Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan, to Lahore just to arrest him. And I just told you how ridiculous that was, because it was just to make sure that he was present in the court. There was no offense. He had not committed any crime, and it was ridiculous that they were there to arrest him. The main thing was not to arrest him or to take him to jail. It was a very, very evil, sinister plan to get him killed in a police encounter, in a fake police encounter, or to make him get out. So, it's easy for a sniper to kill him. So the good thing is that in our intelligence community, in the establishment, the most powerful power center in Pakistan is the establishment, and all other institutions of the country, the judiciary, the bureaucracy, they are all controlled by the establishment. So the good thing is that there are very patriotic people in the establishment, and some of these people were very sincere to Imran Khan, and they think that he is necessary for the continuation of survival and peace in Pakistan. So they keep on informing him of these sinister and evil plans. Even when the assassination attempt happened on the 3rd November, if you take out the video interviews or the things that he said in rallies, he had openly said in October, even before that there's going to be an assassination attempt on me. And he had been saying that for, he had said that a number of times. And people were really worried. And it happened. And with it was, special help that he was saved. So now when he had to appear in court on the night of 14th March, he had made up his mind that he would, just hand himself over to the police. It's not a big deal. Let's go to the jail for 4 days. On 18th, I have to appear in the court. And some sincere people inside the intelligence community, they informed him that there was a plan to get him killed while the police was taking him from Lahore to Islamabad. So it's a 5-6 hour journey. And, today again, there is a, very tense atmosphere here, because he's coming to this court in Islamabad. And even about that, I have just read it. They have announced, the government here in Islamabad, that there will be no cell phone service. And, this is really very fishy. And in another news, someone said that they will turn off the CCTV cameras in the courtroom. And the security personnel, they were changed by the agencies. So, things like these things, when people hear them, they get so worried, and they form a protective, his followers, they form a protective shield around him. And they say, you have to kill us before you get to Imran Khan. This is how much people love him. And, they were chanting in front of his house in Zaman Park, Jaan denge, pa Khan nahi denge. We will give our lives, but we will not give you Khan. So this is how people are protecting him.
And so today he's going to court today, because today for you is Saturday, March 18th. It's maybe going on 7 in the morning there. And this is Friday evening here in the United States. So Saturday, March 18th, which is just beginning for you, that's the day he's supposed to be in court?
Exactly, yes.
Well, that's worrisome. Interesting.
It's really worrisome, and, we every time something like this happens, because I told you, they have made they filed 86 cases against him. And there is this international lawyer, and I was just reading, and he said that I have reviewed each of these cases, and not a single one is arrestable. It's not, they are ridiculous. It's lawfare happening against him. There's no legal reason to arrest him, or there is not a single arrestable case against him. So, Nawaz Sharif, the leader of PMLN party, which is in power, actually it's a coalition of political parties which is in power at the moment, which was brought in through that regime change operation. He wants, he was a very corrupt person, and he was sent to jail, and then he made a fake medical report that his platelets were falling, and he was very ill, and he's in the UK at the moment, and he's controlling things from there in Pakistan. Through his his daughter.
Probably getting help from British and American intelligence, I would imagine.
Yes. And it's really sad, and it's the people of United States and the people of United Kingdom, they should hold their governments accountable. Why are they supporting these criminals, these corrupt people who have been looting our countries for so long? And now they are controlling our, the current government sitting in UK. And he has said that in order to face the public in the upcoming elections, he says, I need level playing field. And by that he means that because he has been to the jail, he wants Imran Khan to go to jail as well. Why would, a person who has not committed any crime, who is not corrupt, who is sincere with his country, sincere with his people, why would we, the people, want him going in jail? And especially when we know that it's not just it's not about putting him in jail, it's about killing him through a fake police encounter. Or through a lone wolf, and then they would say, oh, this was just TTP and Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. It was a terrorist from TTP, and we had no control over it. There are a number of things that they can bring up, and people don't want to. It's even hard to imagine Pakistan without Imran Khan. He's so important for Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. I know some folks believe that the system in Pakistan would need to radically change for Imran Khan to succeed in his quest to really overturn this kind of corrupt system run by these oligarchical families and install a more honest kind of system of governance, that it's hard to imagine how that would happen by any means other than a really major revolution, something a little more along the lines of what happened in Iran. And there is a parallel there in that Imam Khomeini was very popular and charismatic, and he became so popular that the people of the country became ungovernable by the usual corrupt suspects, and ultimately people within the armed forces and many of the other kinds of institutions ended up supporting Imam Khomeini, and there was a complete revolution which led to, unfortunately, a lot of bloodshed, and also unfortunately the exiling of a lot of the really corrupt forces from the country. And there are those who argue that in Pakistan something similar would really have to happen, that it's hard to imagine these corrupt forces cohabiting along with an honest visionary like Imran Khan, who's supported by such a large mass of people. But then others point out that if it ever came down to that kind of revolutionary situation with bloodshed in the streets, that it could really be a disaster for Pakistan, because Pakistan is in a vulnerable position. It's opposed by an ever more chauvinistic and even genocidal India, run by a party that's been dedicated to the ethnic cleansing of all non-Hindus from the entire Indian subcontinent for most of a century. And so Pakistan's in such a difficult predicament, economically, of course, as well, and then caught between the new rising multipolar world order and its age-old dependence on the United States, that if it comes down to a kind of a revolutionary standoff between the pro-Imran Khan majority and these corrupt forces that have been ruling Pakistan for ages, that the whole country could really fall apart, suffer badly, become vulnerable to an onslaught from India and on and so on and so forth. So, given all of that, what's the best possible outcome that we should be hoping and praying for? Some kind of peaceful solution in which enough of the authorities end up acquiescing in allowing Imran Khan to come back to power through more or less parliamentary democratic means, or what are the other options?
Okay, the first thing that we need to get rid of is the law system in Pakistan. We still, the country is running on law and the parliamentary system from the British Raj, and this law can be, it can be manipulated and amended and, changed according to those who are in power. And you're right, we have reached a point that if the military establishment of the country does not come to its senses and does not announce general elections, they could be very seriously, there could be a bloody revolution, because people have reached a boiling point. And since this regime change operation took place in April last year, Imran Khan has been saying from day one that let the people decide. These parties who are currently ruling this country, people did not vote for them. They were brought in through a ridiculous vote of no confidence, which was passed against Imran Khan in the parliament. All know why it happened, because the cipher, when it was made public, so people of Pakistani knew who was behind this conspiracy. So he has been, he's a very upright person. He has been trying to follow the law. He has been asking the Supreme Court of Pakistan to give a date for the elections, and they have given the date. They've asked the governments, the interim governments, to give dates, and the two major provinces, Punjab and KPK, and they have given dates. But current government is not ready, and they're making excuses that we cannot provide security for the elections, this and that, and people have reached a boiling point, because ever since this government came, the value of rupee has been falling against dollar, and the inflation has touched the rooftop. Petrol and diesel prices are going up, and it has become difficult. It has really become difficult for people to survive in such an environment. And people need someone who can raise his head high and make his own decisions. And this is who Imran Khan was. And at the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, he said that people in the national media, they forced him, they made him, choose a side. And he said, this is not, we are neutral in this. We are not supposed to take sides in this. And I think this was another reason that he was punished for his stance, because the US wanted him to choose Ukraine. And it wasn't that he was pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine. He was just pro-Pakistan. And he was, in February, when last year he visited Russia, he was there to get cheaper gas, cheaper oil for Pakistani people, to get to improve food security and oil security for Pakistan. He was there for us. He was not there to be in a Russian camp or to get out the American camp, he doesn't believe in camp politics. And we people of Pakistan need a leader who has a vision like him. So yes, you can pray for us, and people in the West, they need to hold their governments accountable for what they are doing to Pakistani people. How and why are they supporting these corrupt oligarchies in Pakistan, the Sharif family and the Bhutto family? People are sick and tired of them. And obviously we need prayers for safety and security of Imran Khan as well. So if he survives, and God willing, inshallah, he will survive, we want him back as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And I'm a very optimistic person, and I have faith in God, and I see him coming back in power. But before that, I see turmoil in Pakistani politics, the kind which we had never seen before. Because if the establishment keeps on supporting this corrupt imported government, we are not going to see peaceful transition of power. It's going to get really chaotic, and especially on days like this 18th March, when he has to go to the court We are really praying for his safety and and peace in Pakistan, because it's like people are on edge now. You just need one more spark, and it's going to be a huge fire.
Well, we should all be praying for Imran Khan's safety. And it occurs to me that maybe if Xi Jinping can broker a peaceful deal and entente between the Saudis and the Iranians, and he's even apparently going to be meeting with Putin and trying to work out some sort of a peace arrangement for the Ukraine conflict as well, maybe Pakistan should invite Xi Jinping to come try to work out some kind of entente between the two sides there, and specifically to convince the establishment there to peacefully surrender a little bit of its power over Pakistan to the people of Pakistan and to Imran Khan.
Indeed, this is a really good suggestion, and I think where the common public, where people of Pakistan have failed, their international diplomacy can work. And if the friendly countries of Pakistan like China, Saudi Arabia, if their leadership comes forward and asks the establishment to look out for the national interest of Pakistan, to look out for peace in Pakistan, security of Pakistan, that may work out, because up till now the establishment has been putting aside, rubbishing the people's wishes, and they think they can control people through various, brutal tactics like, controlling the media and controlling the journalists. You must have heard about Arshad Sharif, who got killed, unfortunately, last year. He was number one investigative journalist of Pakistan, and he was very vocal against the current regime, and he was bringing many facts to light, and he was basically exposing how the military, the establishment was, supporting the corrupt people, and how they were torturing people. They have targeted members of Imran Khan's political party, Senator Azam Sawati, and then there was Shehbaz Gill, personal assistant to Prime Minister Imran Khan. They were brutally tortured. They were stripped naked. Their videos were made. Their videos were sent to their families. Shameful things have happened. Pakistan was shocked when they learned what had happened to Arshad Sharif. He was so much scared for his life that first he went to UAE. He was in Dubai, and the government of Pakistan, either the current or imported government, they contacted the UAE government and told them not to renew his visa, and he had to get out of Dubai. And then he went to Kenya, and then, in Kenya he was hounded like a dog. And, before they killed him, they tortured him, and they made video of that torture. And they took his laptop, he was making a documentary exposing what's happening in Pakistan. So people and media and journalists and independent analysts, they have been scared after that. Even then, even after such a big incident, people are still speaking, because they're seeing their country going down. They think, what's the worst that can happen now? We are already suffering.
And we're not only speaking out, but they're putting their bodies on the line to go and surround and defend Imran Khan from the forces that are coming after him.
Exactly.
Well, this is a really inspiring story in a way. It's frightening and horrifying, but it's also inspiring that there can actually be an honest politician and a really good leader who inspires a lot of hope in the people. And that's not something that we see every day in today's world. So thank you so much, Syeda Qudsiya Mashhadi. It's been wonderful. Thank you for your really timely information about what's happening right now in Pakistan. And we're all praying for you and for Imran Khan in Pakistan.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Truth Jihad Radio. Kevin Barrett here at truthjihad.com. See you next time.